Hey everybody, I'm Filippo. Doug and Kenan are out of the country right now, so they don't know this yet, but I've treated myself to a C7 Corvette for the day. They're not here to judge me, they're not here to make any jokes, and I want to find out if it's the right next car for me. If you've been watching our content, if you've been listening to our podcast, you will know that I've become obsessed with C7 Corvettes recently. That means that I, as a 30-year-old Italian guy that currently drives a Fiat 500, really want the car most closely associated with middle-aged dads. But I really think that the C7 Corvette is one of the best cars you can buy. If you've been watching on Cars and Bids, we've been selling them and they've started to get bid to around mid-30s or $40,000 for a nice example. And that seems really cheap for the last great American front-engine V8 manual sports car. It's practical, it's affordable, it won't cost you tens of thousands of dollars to maintain. And I think it's a great upgrade, maybe, for my Fiat 500 Abarth, maybe. Everybody knows that I am into C7 Corvettes lately. What I haven't said out loud is that I've never actually driven a C7 Corvette. And it's actually been years since I've driven a powerful car, first of all, and a powerful rear-wheel drive V8 powered car. It's truly been years. I gotta figure out if I'm gonna like it or not. Hence this rental. Doug and Kenan do not know that I rented this car. They will not be able to judge me up until the point where they see the video come out. And especially till they see the giant wing. That'll be an interesting moment. So far, what are my impressions? You sit pretty low to the ground, which is great. It's a sports car. You have the bulging hood in front of you, which is very cool. Feels much more exotic than my Fiat 500 Abarth, obviously, but also more exotic than like a Mustang or a Camaro. Interior is solid, right? There's a large screen, there's a backup camera, there's a large screen in the center in the console here. This one's an automatic, which is kind of unfortunate. One of the downsides of renting it, not that many manual rentals available. Can't really blame the owners of those cars for not renting those out. Got an open sky at top of me, got the T-tops off. It's easy to drive around, went over some speed bumps, not a problem at all, no scraping, etc. It really could be what it's built to be, which is an everyday drivable sports car. I'm feeling the shaking of the engine in the best way possible. It feels sporty, it feels fun, but it doesn't feel compromised for driving around every day. This car has a Z51 package, so it has Magna Ride. Right now I'm in sport mode, but I played around a little bit and there did seem to be a bit of a suspension difference in different modes, which is great to see. Haven't really given it much throttle yet. That's the first time I've even accelerated at all. And you know, we'll see it. We're getting on the highway in a second. I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive at that point to see what's what. But so far, it just seems like an easy to drive sports car, just with a great V8 burble, a little bit sportier than anything else. So far, not in love, I'm not smitten, but I see why it gets the reputation that it does. Plus, I'm in some nice leather seats, comfortable, hug me nicely, not too tightly, have solid visibility, have a hatchback, and I love hatchbacks. I love having trunk space. No real complaints so far. No real complaints at all. Love feeling the seat shake a little bit, even at idle. What more do I want? It has more technology than any of my other cars. This one says 2017. It would be my newest car. Has a screen, has CarPlay. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is a car to have. Image aside. Image is a little bit of a problem here. Some quick stats as we're waiting to get on the highway. This is the Z51 package, so 460 horsepower, something thereabouts, 6.2 liter LT1 V8. This one's got the 8-speed auto. I personally would exclusively buy the 7-speed manual, but I'm excited to see how it feels. Ooh. I do enjoy the sound. I do enjoy the sound a lot. Yeah. Oh man, power. Not something I'm used to, but something that is very enjoyable. Ooh, yeah. This will be a fun little highway jaunt. Yeah. No complaints at all there. Put it down a third in the automatic, and you just punch it and it goes. Sounds great, feels great. You feel in control, but it just feels wonderful. Did not expect to like it this much in the first few minutes, or really at all, but there might be something here. There might be something here. Let's see how we do on like a nice tight little on-ramp. I'm not an irresponsible person, So we won't have any burnouts here. But all right, quartering on this on-ramp, feel balanced, feel not too leany in the corners. Power sounds great, feels great. I'm generally a fan. Also, torque seems to be pretty low in the torque band. Feels like I can be in kind of any gear, and it's fine. Let's see it. See what I can do. Yeah. Man. All right. I'm not used to power. I'm not used to speed. I'm not used to seeing speeds like that on the speedometer. Wasn't even speeding very much or at all, but still not used to that kind of rapid acceleration. No complaints though. No complaints at all. Man, hard to maintain composure when you're not at all used to that. Want a gap? Take the gap. All right, I thought that I would enjoy this. It turns out I'm enjoying it a lot more than I expected. As somebody that currently drives a 1.4 liter, 4-cylinder, very small Italian car, where all of the joy, all of the emotion is in bringing it out, I had kind of convinced myself that I didn't need power, and that, you know, the sensation of speed, the sensation of accelerating would be enough. It turns out, actually, power is fun. I'm legitimately surprising myself here with how much I'm enjoying this. For those that know me, know that I'm a little bit restrained usually. This is not my normal vibe, but man, is this good. Let's do it one more time. I'll never get old. That'll really never get old. Yeah. And the brakes feel great too. You got the power, you also got the brakes. Honestly, I really regularly floor my 500 Abarth. When my friends get in the car, when I give people a ride, they often comment that I do actually drive it, and I drive it hard. It's such a different experience. Wow. I feel much more alive than I do in that car. I don't have to bring out the power, which I don't miss. I thought I would miss. I don't so far. I thought that the joy of it was just in the manual transmission. I thought the joy of it was just in kind of really flooring the car. There's a lot of joy in flooring the car when it has 455, 460 horsepower. Turns out, am I gonna have to spend $35,000, $40,000 for the first time in my life? Is that what this one-day rental is gonna result in? I've been a passenger in a lot of fast cars. Doug is kind enough to share his Ford GT, his Carrera GT, his Countach, take people on rides. Doug has driven them aggressively with me in the car. That's a fun experience. It's fun to just go fast and to be a passenger, to kind of be able to feel the V8, V10, V12 of those cars. This is worlds different to drive, and it's just so fun. Why have I been obsessed with the C7 Corvette? I have exclusively driven Japanese and, let's be honest, kind of shitty European cars for all of my sporty cars. Had an NB Miata that I bought for $3,000. Had a BMW X5 E53 generation with a stick that I bought for $4,500. And now I have my Fiat 500 Abarth Cabriolet. It's like a $10,000 car. All of the fun is in flooring that and tossing it around, and it doesn't handle great. It's not very fast. I've never had a true sports car, and I've never had a V8 car, never had a powerful American car, never actually had a coupe even. So why the C7? Why is that what I'm most excited about for the first one of those? I'm a practical guy. This car's practical. Has a hatch, it's reliable, it doesn't cost that much to maintain, doesn't cost that much to just drive around. Gets 29 miles per gallon highway. Do I go on the highway that much? No, but I could. I could actually take a real road trip in this car. My wife and I could go up the coast or something else equally Americana. I also just want a new experience. Have had a bunch of smaller, less powerful cars. Kind of want to have the traditional American sports car experience. And I think that this could give me that. And lastly, I'm cheap. $30,000, $35,000, $40,000, which is what these cars cost now, as you've seen on Cars and Bids. That's a lot of money for me. Never spent that much on a car, period. but they hold their value pretty well. They don't depreciate that much. This is already probably nearing the kind of end of the depreciation curve. And I'm scared about reliability. I'm scared about maintenance. I'm scared about having a huge expense for an IMS bearing, for some other major issue. And these cars really don't have many. There were a few in the early 2014s, but that was pretty rare. And by this point, they a little bit later in the middle of the run, they were well sorted, and nobody's really reporting huge issues with them. That's all things that I like a lot. And so far, driving this around, the interior is nice. Is it super special? No. I've sat and kind of had that Ferrari F355. That felt special. You sit down, it's all leather, it's a Ferrari, feels special. We have an Aston Martin V8 Vantage in the office right now, and that has leather everywhere. It feels luxurious. But this isn't that far off from that. Still pretty nicely finished, stitching, everything feels nice. The seat leather, the steering wheel leather, it all feels pretty nice. So I don't consider the fact that it's not that, doesn't feel that special to be the detractor. It's not a C5 or C6 Corvette that are notoriously plasticky and cheap feeling. This feels well built and more than nice enough for my lifestyle. And I also appreciate that I don't have to worry about the leather separating or the buttons getting sticky like I would in some of the other cars that I might consider. All of that makes me just really actually like this car. I was worried, I've convinced myself over the last couple weeks that I had overhyped it, that I had told myself that it was the right car for my needs, and I'd kind of convinced myself that I went too far. Driven around a little bit, sat in it, maybe I hadn't overhyped it at all. It's comfortable, cruising around, it's nice, it's quiet inside, AC is pretty good, but then on the highway, you floor it, and it's a whole different experience than anything that I'm used to. Some background info on the C7 Corvette in case you're not that familiar. Came out in 2014 through 2019. The C8, which was mid-engined, the first mid-engine Corvette, replaced it in 2020. 6.2 liter LT1 V8 up front. This one has the 8-speed auto. First year was offered with a 6-speed auto, but I would personally only buy the 7-speed manual. I'm a manual kind of guy, although honestly, this automatic's not half bad. This car has the Z51 performance package, which is what you want. It adds Magna Ride, it adds a performance exhaust that gives you 5 more horsepower, 5 more pound-feet of torque. It adds some Brembo brakes and some other kind of performance-related upgrades. Fun fact, it's like a $2,500 option or something like that when the car was new, which was everybody agreed it was a bargain back then, and certainly feels like a bargain now. You want a car with that package. If you saw in the exterior shots, I could do without the wing. Wing is aftermarket, as is the front splitter, and not my style, not really my taste. C7 Corvettes, and actually all Corvettes, have a bit of a stigma. They're known as the car that you drive in your middle-aged, in your midlife crisis, you're wearing white New Balances, you're gonna put out an easel that says that this was one of 3 built on March 20th in red with the black interior by a guy named Steve. That's overhyped. That's not a fair stigma to give this car. They gave the car to space astronauts. The C7 won its class in Le Mans, I'm told. Not something I'm that familiar with. It's just cool. It's a V8 powered performance car that actually lives up to its performance credentials. Even if the interior isn't as special as some other exotic cars, if this car feels every part of that from a driving experience, it handles great. The steering feels nice. The performance is phenomenal, and you can buy one for 35 grand. And it just feels special. You're down low. You have the T-tops open. You have your Costco shopping in the hash rack behind you. You have the hood in front of you. You have the burble of the engine. When you're at idle, you can kind of feel that shaking the car a little bit. You want to get a gap in traffic, you just take it. And it's just wonderful while still being comfortable. I have to eventually convince my wife that we should buy this car. And I think that I will be able to, because it's also, if you want to just cruise around, it's comfortable. You want to drive to wherever, you can. You just get in and drive. It's reliable. You don't have to worry about it. What more do you really want? Surprise, surprise, I really love this car. But I got to make sure it's practical enough. I'm a practical person. I like to go to Costco, put stuff in the trunk, go to Home Depot, whatever. So, got to put the Targa top back on, and then let's go to Costco and double check. Yet one more reason to not have an aftermarket one. There we go. Easy peasy. Let's go. Moment of truth. I've got some water, San Pellegrino knockoff, but I'm cheap, and so it's not the real thing. And then for my cookout later today, got some hamburger buns. Once again, I would not get a wing, let's say, but this will all fit with truly no problem at all. We could have got so much more water for the office, and it would have all fit. This might just be practical enough to work. Perfect. I've had a day with the C7 Corvette. I also drove here in my Fiat 500 Abarth Cabriolet. I'm Italian, live in America. Did this car live up to my expectations? Yeah, it actually vastly exceeded them. I thought I had built it up too much in my head, but this actually could be the perfect car for me. I've got a bunch of sparkling water in the trunk. It's fun to drive around. I'd need a manual. I'd need it without the wing, but I really actually loved driving this around. At the same time, this car is nimble, it's Italian, it's sporty, and I gotta decide what I want. I also have to decide, is there something else in this category that would be better? For $35,000 to $40,000, you could buy a 996 4S 911. You could buy a 997 Cabriolet, a Jaguar F-Type with the V8 is in this price range. I really have to decide, are there more cars that I should drive before picking the C7 Corvette? Will the Abarth be on Cars and Bids soon? I don't know. Our car photographer that Doug uses, that lives in the Bay Area, was in town last week. I almost begged Kenan to clean it quickly and get it ready for photos. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet, although today got me closer. If I drove this car 2 weeks ago, you may have seen that car on Cars and Bids already. One thing's for sure, gonna be watching the C7 market closely, gonna be setting up that saved search on Cars and Bids. If the right one comes up, may force my hand, may not have a choice but to bid. If you think I should drive something else, if there's something else that you think I should consider in my search, let me know in the comments. I will maybe renting some more cars in the future.